Hello again, YouTube. Welcome back to another video by me, Derek, or Lycan 101. This video is in a response to a couple of my subscribers sending comments on the campaign trailer that I posted, and they asked for a slightly more in-depth discussion about the campaign itself. So this video is going to talk about the campaign that I'm currently running for a group of 7 in Pathfinder, set in my own homemade setting, and it is titled Infection. Now, the concept behind Infection is simply this. I decided that my campaign setting was a little too happy, I guess you could say. The world was a little too bright, and it didn't have enough of the sense of danger that I wanted it to have. So Infection centers around a group of adventurers unknowingly and accidentally setting off a plague that spreads across the continent, and it is up to them to fix the problem. This happens in the first session by getting the players to go on a quest to save some children which have been kidnapped by an unknown source, and it turns out this unknown source is well, in my case, a elven alchemist who is dabbling into dark arts, and his name is Faust, and he is attempting to summon a demon, and this demon is a demon of plague. And when the players come to save the children and stop Faust, and the children are being used as a sacrifice for the summoning of the demon. When the players come and try to stop Faust, the demon is released and tells the PCs basically that everything that follows hereafter is a result of their failure to stop his summoning today. And what I felt that did was, in a sense, create, for the overall story, a much darker tone for the world at large. A plague spreading across the land will kill thousands, hundreds of thousands, and what it will do is allow me in future campaigns to create a much more darker and sinister story element. So what I've done is the plague has been released. The players know that it's their fault and have to figure out a way to stop it. So what I've done is introduced some pretty powerful people into their lives, the players' lives. In my campaign setting, the gods are very involved in the world at large. They get their hands dirty, they muddle into people's lives, and what has happened for the players is that the Horseman of Pestilence has come to basically tell the players how much they've screwed up, and that they will be fixing the problem personally, or he will enact his vengeance upon them. This is happening because the players release the plague, and as the Horseman of Pestilence, the Horseman is the one that discusses and creates and sends out plagues when he feels the need, not on the whims of some demon. So he feels that because the players have basically unleashed this plague that is not of his own creation, that it needs to be dealt with. So he's sending the players basically on a quest to redeem themselves and save the world. So the players go out as the plague spreads slowly, looking for a means to stop this demon from basically being able to spread its pestilence across the land. It's taken a few sessions. I think we're currently at the 7th session, and the players have complete knowledge of the plague, that they're the ones responsible, and they have made contact with some powerful people across the setting, and are almost to the point of discovering the means of the cure for the plague. Now, I've set it up so that way the players have many options in how they go about destroying the demon. They are still very low level. I think they're all currently level 5, which may seem a little low to be handling a demon, but I'm using the slow progression charts because I wanted it to be a lengthier campaign, and I want all of their characters to be able to be used again in a second campaign. So I'm thinking about level 10 is where the campaign will stop. So they're approaching a point. They're almost halfway there, I would say, in the campaign. There are reoccurring enemies, reoccurring friends. Faust, the enemy from the first session, is still at large, and he escaped their clutches at the first session and has come back to dog them and basically destroy them whenever they... I shouldn't say destroy necessarily. I should say just to bother them, and as a reminder that he's still at large. And he's been back several times, and I think in a couple of sessions he will definitely make another appearance, and maybe we'll get killed this time. But we'll keep that between us. My players don't need to know that. So, my goal for this campaign, like I said, is to create a much darker setting, but at the same time introduce a much more involved story. So there are layers upon layers in this campaign that connect to previous campaigns, that will connect to future campaigns, that I feel it creates a much more involved story. Each player also has a personalized background that they've added to their own created background, and I'll be posting a video about personalized player backgrounds at a later date, so that you will understand more about that. And this is what this essentially is almost a personalized side mission that evolves throughout the campaign. So what I plan on doing with this campaign is having them reach a point where they understand how to destroy the demon, confront the demon, end the plague, come back home, and attempt to settle back into a normal life that they had before the plague started, and allow them to realize that the plague has killed off a lot of people, destroyed a lot of villages, and generally create a much darker tone for the entire setting. And from there, it will allow me to keep their characters, and use them in another campaign that I have been thinking about that will take on a much more plainer approach, and will be a much more broad spectrum campaign, if you will. What else can I say about Infection? It deals heavily with disease, death. It touches on some pretty heavy issues and morality questions. I feel morality is a good thing to include in campaigns, and there have been a few morality choices that they've had to make, including whether or not to help people along the road, people who appear sick, moral questions of paladins taking justice into their own hands and saying, oh, well, this town appears to be infected, we must wipe it out before the plague can spread further. What do the players do in response to that? And, excuse me, another thing about Infection is it introduces characters that are non-player characters to the PCs that come from my original campaigns, my first and second, and brings back memories for me as a DM of past players and past heroic characters, and I think what that does is it creates a feeling that the world is living and breathing, and that your campaign, once it ends, doesn't just end. The campaign may have ended, but those characters are still alive and in the world and breathing. So one of the characters is a paladin from my first campaign, and he made an appearance in this campaign as almost a complete divine holy warrior of his god, and guided the players in the right direction of a person who can really help them destroy the demon. And I thought that was an interesting idea to include because, like I said, it makes the world feel alive. I don't know if anybody else has attempted to do something of that nature, but I'd be interested to hear about it. Lastly, I'll say about Infection is that I'm working with a group of almost all new players to the role-playing experience, and they seem to be really enjoying themselves. They've gotten the hang of it. They love their characters. They love playing the game. The campaign is dark for them. They have said that. I've had a player come up to me and ask, well, where's all of the lighthearted fun stuff? And I said, don't worry, there'll be some lighthearted moments, but overall the story arc of this campaign is meant to be dark. It's meant to be gruesome and not meant to be a jolly good time for everyone to just lightly joke about. So I hope that's a more in-depth look into what Infection is all about. It's about plague, it's about disease, it's about demons and destruction and loss, and I hope that covers all of my subscribers' questions. If not, please feel free to send me some more. I will gladly answer them, and thank everyone for subscribing, and I hope you all have as much fun gaming as I currently am. Have a good day.